Who would have guessed WeWork is broke? Oh wait, we did. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Neil Winteregg, with CEO of Matterhorn Business Development, Dr. Greg Winteregg. So today we are here doing a newsroom segment where we talk about interesting business things that are in the news. And it's hard to find interesting business things lately. So we're gonna talk about something that we have talked about previously, where we were correct in our assumptions about WeWork.
Get out of here.
I know.
Little old you and me.
So anyway, we've talked about WeWork a couple of times.
We have.
Their $47 billion valuation. Everybody was so surprised when that all fell through.
Shocker.
Now they're on the verge of bankruptcy.
Although we called it falling apart.
We call it falling apart. You can go back to our previous videos.
That's right.
Because they aren't a tech company. They're not even a co-working space. They are a real estate development. That is what they are.
And they never admitted it.
They never realized it or admitted it, either way. And now they're worth $3 billion. And they have way more than that in committed leases that they've already signed up for.
Well, it depends on who's doing the valuation. We would say
I'd say they're worth negative $10 billion at this point. That's probably about what
they're
they
actually
really are
in the
worth.
hole.
Yes.
And if I was invested in that, I'd be incredibly nervous.
Yes. I don't think many people are invested in that anymore, and I think that's the problem.
And I guess here's the thing that has annoyed us. And this actually goes back to, I believe, the very first video that you and I did together.
The very first newsroom was about Uber.
Was about Uber.
We had a black cloth behind us.
That's right. We were
on an iPhone.
We were in a bit of a ghetto space.
Yes.
But what we said with video number one was accurate. People get all enamored with the valuation. What is the company worth, its potential? And these companies are getting incredible valuations, but they are making no money, making profit. If they are making money, they're borrowing more than they're making.
Or it's all VC backed.
Yeah.
Which is the case
venture
of
capital,
Uber.
dumping money in. And it really is just a scam.
Yeah.
It really is.
If the CEOs of these companies got paid based off the amount of profit in there, they wouldn't have any money.
Right. So then when it boils down to it, when you in your business or you're looking at investing in a business, you have to take a look not just at cash flow, not just at potential, you have to take a look at actual profit. If you watch Shark Tank, and we talk about Shark Tank a lot, the entrepreneur shows up and they haven't sold a product and they're giving themselves a $4 million valuation or a 3 or a 1 million, and they still, like, they've sold $4,000 worth of stuff, or they're sitting there and all they have is their prototype, they get laughed out of the tank.
Well, the first questions that the tanks always ask are, how much does your product cost and what are your margins?
Yes.
What is the actual profitability of your product?
And the margin, just to be clear, is the difference between what it costs you and what you're charging. If you're charging $100 and it costs you $50, your margin then is $50. But then that's not all your money. You still have to run the company with that $50. So you have your marketing expense, your administrative costs, whatever it costs you then, your rent, your staff. And so then what's left after you pay your expenses is profit.
Right.
And so what these companies are doing is they're giving themselves, or somebody's awarding them, these massive valuations, and nobody's ever talking about the profit. They're just looking at potential and cash flow, and in business, that is not going to work. You try and go to a bank and get a loan off of a valuation, and you're running at a deficit, and you're not turning a profit.
Or you have no cash flow coming in.
You have no cash flow, your sales are down, and you sit there and talk about a banker with potential when they're looking at minuses on your tax return and minuses on your balance sheet and your cash position. They will laugh you out of the bank, just like the sharks laugh these entrepreneurs who have their head in the clouds out of the tank.
Yeah. And I think that that's what the WeWork situation is that to have a $47 billion valuation, you just start buying everything. Oh, look at this property over here. Gazillion dollars. Who cares? We're worth $47 billion. Right. And then all of a sudden, you're in trouble. And that's really what's going on. And that's where small business owners have to look at the profit of what's actually going on. What is actually left over, which is why we talk about profit first all the time, is your profit is the most important part of the business, not just for yourself, but for the business and its valuation. So those are the important things that as small business owners we have to look at. And if WeWork had started on that model, they would be a lot smaller than they are today. But they would be, instead of worth negative 10 billion, they would have $10 billion in cash to actually go and buy things. And through this global health crisis, they wouldn't have cared. Instead, they were charging rent to all the people because they had to have the money.
They needed the cash flow.
Because they had to have the cash flow.
To pay their debt.
To pay the debt for the space that they're leasing that they don't own. So anyway, these are the ideas that get pervasive in business.
Well, and you know, Silicon Valley, we've talked about it before. I've read many articles about somebody comes up with a concept and then they go out and they peddle that concept and they get people to give them tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Based off of potentialities.
Potentiality and a concept, rather than having a real business plan, like this is the purpose of our company. We're going to help people solve a problem, rather than the purpose of our company is to make us billionaires. And so it's just, it really is just high-level panhandling. That's really all it is with the whole venture capital thing. In many cases, obviously.
Now, obviously it works and people make a bunch of money off of it. And if that's your goal, is to make a bunch of money, that's totally cool. But the goal of a business has to be different.
It has to be about helping people solve a problem. You're providing a service or a product that helps people solve a problem. And then that is the foundation. That's a stable foundation to build your company on.
The rest of the company is built around that.
And then strategic planning and action plans and results follow from that. So
whereas WeWork was built to be, I forget what it was. The CEO of WeWork wanted to be either a $50 billion company or $100 billion company. Like that was his goal. And now it's worth nothing. So that just shows you that money is not the end all.
And you got to look at the right numbers when you're talking about money.
So that's what we have today. Again, as usual, subscribe, give a thumbs up, tell us how stupid we are in the comments down below. It makes me laugh every time somebody yells at me in the comment section. So I really do appreciate it.
Bring it.
If you don't like what we have to say, it's totally fine. If you like what we have to say, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.